What's going on, you guys? This is RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, bringing you a video on a Transformers video game. Unbeknownst to some of you, there is currently a new Transformers game in development, which may come to you as a big surprise because, to be honest with you, we haven't had the best track record when it comes to Transformers AAA games. Not necessarily any other type of game, but a major studio game. But it looks like there's a possibility that that could change, and we're going to talk about it today. But before we dive into the topic, I want to remind you of today's sponsor, Aniba. If you're an avid gamer like me, then you know that it can get expensive because games aren't getting any cheaper nowadays, and we all have bills to pay. But Aniba makes it to where you don't have to have second thoughts about purchasing any games. It's a digital gaming marketplace that allows incredible deals on video games, new and old. We're talking deals across platforms such as the PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and more. Not only does Aniba offer game keys, gift cards, and subscriptions, but it also takes it a step further by providing keys to in-game DLC that would have originally totaled more than what the original game cost at retail. That includes keys to timed DLC that have since been wiped from the original storefronts. You can't beat that deal with a stick. Above all else, Aniba prioritizes customer satisfaction, offering 24/7 live support for any questions you have or any concerns pertaining to your purchase. So let's toss our words aside and play some games with Aniba. You can get started by clicking the link that'll be at the top of the description. But yeah, guys, as I was saying, I have been receiving a lot of messages asking me to talk about this new Transformers IP that's currently in development because not that many people are talking about it. I think the only person that I have seen talking about it is my fellow Transformers fan, Robo Gamer 1 HD, but for the most part, it hasn't necessarily broken the internet. And I think it's largely due in part to the enthusiasm of a lot of fans just not being as hyped as they used to be because we've been disappointed multiple times, starting with Transformers Reactivate, which was supposed to be the resurgence of epic Transformers games that harken back to the Cybertron titles, but all we got from it was a trailer. We didn't get any updates from the officials, we didn't get to see what the gameplay actually looked like unless we got some of those leaked snippets, but for the most part we didn't see what the revamped, reworked version of the game would have looked like because it was ultimately cancelled due to a prolonged and heavily troubled development cycle which suffered from shifting design visions, leadership difficulties, and a need for the studio to scale down and refocus its funding on other internal projects. We're talking a project that went through developmental hell. It spent 7 years in development and was passed between multiple developers, initially starting at Certain Affinity before it was ultimately moved to Splash Damage. And you would think that it would be easy given the fact that Certain Affinity did most of the heavy lifting by developing all the different assets as well as the different character designs, but it proved to be more difficult than we thought. We heard stories about how Splash Damage struggled with the game's core identity and how they attempted to transition it from a AAA premium title to a microtransaction heavy live service game. And you guys know the rest. They chose to end development on the title to reallocate resources and staff towards other projects such as Project Astrid, leaving us with only the toys that bear the game's namesake. And I'm not sure about you guys, but I find it crazy that it's been a year since that happened because it feels like it was just yesterday. We were so hyped to get this new game only to see that it was cancelled and we weren't going to be seeing or hearing anything else about it. But now we actually do have a game that's in development and apparently it's going to be something that's going to harken back to the G1 days. And there's been word going around the internet that an agency has been reaching out to different content creators to test out this undisclosed project. And anytime I hear details like this, it lets me know that this game is going to be heavily tailored towards an online community as opposed to a single player offline one, which I'm totally fine with. I enjoy playing with others, but I am all for playing by myself because I like the story aspects of these games. I like to see what they're going to do with these iconic characters and how they're going to retell the story of Cybertron and the war that went on the planet. Offline games can be played anywhere regardless of Wi-Fi stability, and I don't have to worry about my entertainment being interrupted. Not to mention that online games rely heavily on active servers, and once a company shuts those servers down, the game becomes unplayable. Like, if it wasn't for our dedicated fans in the Transformers community, I doubt we would even have online servers for War for Cybertron as well as Follow Cybertron, since if I'm not mistaken, those servers were shut down. So yeah, if it's going to be an online only game, then you're going to have issues in that area. I also want to remind you guys of the poor history the Transformers brand has with games like this, because there have been multiple times where Hasbro gives the IP out to a company that wants to do a live service online game, and they do the open beta testing, but it never gets past that phase. Like, does anybody remember Transformers Universe? This game that took place in the Aligned Continuity and was going to be this team-based MMO and tactical shooter. Yeah, that game came out in 2012 and it never saw the light of day out of its beta phase because it struggled with technical bugs and poor monetization models. Not to mention that the developers, Jagex, couldn't get their focus set on this title. They shifted their focus and all their resources towards expanding RuneScape, which starved the Transformers Universe team of staff and content. And then there's Transformers Online, which, if you guys think about it, that was nothing more than a blink and you miss it scenario, since this game was already doomed to fail from the beginning because it was a Chinese localized title, not to mention that its player base dwindled before it even got off the ground, resulting in the service getting shut down by 2020. So if this is the route that the mystery developer is going to take for this undisclosed Transformers game project, then my radar is going to be up, because it's going to be one of those situations where I'm always going to be wondering, okay, when is this game going to end? When are they going to officially pull the plug on it because they aren't satisfied with their returns? Speaking of mystery developer, a lot of people are under the assumption that this could potentially be a AAA studio that works on the title, which would be awesome. Like, I've been seeing what Marvel has been doing with all their properties, and they've been absolutely crushing it with games such as Marvel Spider-Man and other big name titles that they have. Like, even though the Cybertron games are my favorite Transformers games and arguably the best Transformers games in general, I do feel like I would like to see what it would be like if they had a bigger studio involved. Somebody like a Sucker Punch or a Insomniac Games, because you already know they're going to come with that heat. They're going to come with a big game that's polished upon arrival and it's going to be played for many years to come. But if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't think we're going to be getting a Transformers game developed on a AAA level. Not only that, but I doubt that this undisclosed project is going to be on consoles. Yeah, that's right, you heard me. I don't think this game is going to be available on these console platforms like many are assuming it to be. It's most likely going to be a PC or a mobile title. And I say this because we have to remember who we're talking about here. We're talking about Hasbro, a company that hasn't done a long-term licensing agreement with a gaming publisher since 2018. Ever since they parted ways with Activision, their gaming strategy largely shifted towards mobile, free-to-play, and live service games like Forced to Fight, because games such as those yield high continuous profit margins with low upfront development costs. And like I mentioned, when they actually did try to go for a high-risk title such as Transformers Reactivate, it failed because the developers couldn't get their stuff together. And one thing that you got to keep in mind is the fact that Hasbro is always going to be a toy company. They have historically viewed video games merely as marketing extensions for toy lines rather than standalone big budget entertainment pillars. So anytime there's a video game coming out, yeah, they're going to acknowledge that, but they're going to use that video game as a vehicle to drive toy sales, which is what they originally set up to do with Transformers Reactivate. But when that particular project was scrapped, the only thing that we had were those toys, and a lot of people that weren't following the news revolving a Transformers Reactivate game, they didn't know where these toys came from, resulting in them not getting purchased and ultimately resulting in their inventory being overstuffed with these action figures. And if you guys know anything about inventory, then you know that it costs a lot of money to store these figures, and Hasbro has to keep these items moving because they have other Transformers toys that they need to put in those inventories. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that experience left a bad taste in Hasbro's mouth, and I'm most certain that they aren't in a rush to work with another AAA video game studio anytime soon, because they overextended themselves the first time, not to mention that it cost them a lot of money. So yeah, if you're thinking that this is a console game, then I wouldn't hold your breath. This is most likely a mobile game or a PC game, which, take of that what you will. I know that there are a lot of people that aren't fans of those types of games, but there are some good mobile games out there that people tend to sleep on, like those MiHoYo games such as Genshin Impact and Honkai Star Rail. Those are titles that have seen major growth in popularity over the years, and it's because of that that they've made a lot of money for the developers. So yeah, if there's any mobile game developer that other studios should take notes from, it would have to be MiHoYo. Like, if you were to tell me that they were working on a Transformers game, I would get pumped, man. But with all that said, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to you guys. I just thought I would give my 2 cents on this because I kept getting messages asking about this so-called game that's in development, and I just do not feel like it's a console game, let alone a AAA title. But what do you think? Do you think it's a AAA title, or do you think it's a mobile game? Let me know in the comments section below. As always, I ask that you like or dislike the video. It doesn't have to be a thumbs up. You can give me a thumbs down if you want. But if you really enjoyed this video, it would help me out tremendously if you shared it with all your friends and followers on all the different social media outlets. Sharing is caring. But once again, this is RBG, aka the Random Black Gamer, signing out on another video. I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.